I'm Dr. Robert Davis, family life educator and leadership coach. This is my co-host, R.P. Soriano. Soriano attended Johns Hopkins Carey Business School, worked in the financial industry, and was an international consultant before partnering with me to launch UnBoxed to Lead. Me? Well, I worked for over 20 years as a senior pastor and a community organizer. Then I retired and started a leaders peer support community called UnBoxed to Lead. Soriano and I have been friends since the early 90s, and with our varied experiences and expertise, we help leaders reach the next level in their leadership. So join us for the next few moments as we unbox the power and the potential of your relationships, your leadership, and your life. A leader will have about 20 or so that are underneath them at the most. I'm talking about a larger organization, they have about 20 or so. So you're looking at those 20 or so that are directly under you. This is a larger organization that are directly under you. And there's going to be three types of people that are going to emerge. There's going to be those that oppose the change, those that support the change, and those that are like the go along to get along type of personalities. They just, they're not going to be for or against. And I think we all understand the importance of staying in contact with those who support the change. It's kind of like leaders affecting leaders. And it's natural for us. It's easy for us. When people are wanting to see us succeed and when they're patting us on the back, when they're always like, hey, that's a great idea, let's do it. Man, who doesn't want to be around that? Who doesn't want to be with people who never challenge and push you back? That's just human nature. We gravitate to those type of people. But we also need to be in contact with people who oppose us, because they really do help us to understand the weaknesses in our thinking, the weaknesses in our plans, excuse me, the weaknesses in our, in what we're proposing. So we want to stay in contact with them. And we've talked about this in other broadcasts. We want to stay in contact with them. And the posture that we want to take is the posture of a scientific investigator. I really want to understand. Jane Goodall, when she went and was observing the primates, and I always forget whether it was gorillas or whether it was chimpanzees, but when she was observing the primates, she didn't go in there to try to change them. She just wanted to understand them better, to just observe and to learn and understand. And when you enter into a relationship with that type of posture, it really does lower your level of anxiety. But more than that, it lowers the level of anxiety of others. Now, if I would have gone in there to among the primates, I would have been in there trying to, get them to dance for me and stuff. And then, if it was the gorillas, they'd have just pounded me on my they'd have pounded me into the ground like an old Tom and Jerry cartoon. But yeah.
No, I was going to say this is different from the old saying, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. This is not that posture. When you're saying keeping in contact with the people that oppose you, you're not saying I need to keep an eye on this person because I need to be able to anticipate when they're going to put a knife in my back, kind of thing.
Exactly. And that again is about manipulating people. That is about controlling people. Keep your friends close, but keep your friends closer so that you can control them. They're always at arm's reach away and you can move them as you want to. No, what we're talking about is something that is different than that. We're talking about wanting to understand why others disagree with the direction that you're going, and really being able to listen without becoming defensive or dismissive, and being able to share your thoughts with them without trying to convince or to coerce. That is really the posture. And again, that scientific investigator that just says, I want to understand how these flowers grow. I want to understand how these chimpanzees form and reproduce and how they choose mates. I want to really get a deeper understanding. I want to understand what are the challenges that this individual is having with the direction that we're going. And I'm going to use the scientific method to do that. And the scientific method is not there to try to convince or to persuade. It is there to really learn and to grow and to glean. Then when you do that, it has a profound impact on the individuals that you are interacting with the individuals that you're leading. And then the last, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that, I know a lot of times in the past, I've experienced this, people that I've coached, and even in my own personal experience, there's the feeling, I don't have time for all of that. I just need people to get in line. I don't have time for all of that. And what I've realized in my own personal experience, whether it's in personal relationships, professional relationships, whatever the case may be, when you take that approach, you end up having to make time for it. You're
Exactly.
just going to end up doing a lot of rework, and you're going to end up having to fix all of the stuff that was broken along the way. It was already broken, and then it's like cars. We've used this analogy in the past. Old cars that we've had. Person says, "Don't
Yeah.
drive the car." If you drive the car, 5 more feet, you're going to make it. You're going to make the already bad situation worse. And you're just
Yes.
like, I got to wing. I have no other choice. I got to try to do this. And it's like, you can either fix it now, don't drive it, fix it now. You drive it. Not only are you going to have the first problem that you had, you're going to have all kinds of other problems that are going to be compounded for that. So one thing's going to break, and it's going to break like 50 more things. So
Exactly.
I think that's the,
Which, let
I
me say
think
this, which is more time consuming rather
exactly.
than having to just change one part in the engine. Now you've got to change 30 parts in the engine. That's even more time consuming. So you're going to invest the time, either the time that it takes to really get to know your team, to hear and listen to them, or the time that it takes to have to put out and to interview and to read resumes and to try to
Yeah.
get other people to carry the slack for the person that either left or that you fired. There's going to be a time, and the question that you have to ask yourself is, where do I want to invest that time?
Right.
I don't
Right.
have the time for it.
Yeah. You either take the lazy approach. Hey, I just don't feel like putting out this campfire. Okay. Well, I mean, at some point you're going to have to put out the fire. It's better to
Yeah,
put it out while it's a campfire than before it becomes a forest fire.
you hit
I
the
mean,
nail on the
and
head.
you're going to be doing 10 times the amount of work to deal with that bigger problem. Let's move on to the fourth point, if we may. Is that are we good to walk on? You talk about
Man,
how
you're leading the show, man. I'm following you. I'm not going to not cooperate with you leading today.
so far you have given me little to no pushback, and that my stress and anxiety has been at a very good homeostasis point, a level here. So I do appreciate that. You say that effective leaders develop strategies to cooperate with their team to achieve a common goal. So let's talk about some of those strategies here.
So there are four stages, if you will, or four aspects of the strategy. I call them the four stages, and that the first stage of cooperation is to never be the one who defects.
Mm,
So if you're looking for cooperation, then you say, you know what, I'm in this for the long haul.
right, right.
If I'm going to develop a cooperative team, then I can't be the one that defects. In other words, I can't be the one that bails out and says I'm not speaking anymore.
Mm.
And
I
we
don't
see
care
this.
what you all do, kind of thing. I
I
don't
don't
care
care.
what you
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah.
So we're gonna stick this out. I'm not going to be the first one to leave. I'm going to make sure that I stick in this. So that is important. The second stage of cooperation is retaliation. And I use the word retaliation kind of like as a shock jock. So
Mhm.
excuse me for that. But the second stage of cooperation is retaliation, which is to signal to the team that cooperation between the parties is breaking down or has broken down. So someone has to be mature enough to say, hey, listen, this is what's actually going on. The
Mm.
cooperation and the unity that we needed to move forward is not working. And effective leaders, they actually work at identifying when cooperation has broken down. But here's the catch right here. But effective leaders do it in a calm, non accusatory, fact centered manner. We were attempting, here's an example. We were attempting to do A, B, and C. Here are the things that I've observed that I did, and here are the things that I've observed others have done. And this is, and now we're at an impasse. And we really do need to figure out how we're going to move beyond to reach our ultimate objective. Because what happens too often with us is we end up getting into talking about people instead of talking to people, talking about the problem with others instead of talking about the problem to others. And so an effective leader, so that they don't end up elevating the level of stress and tension within the team, they say, hey, I'm recognizing that there's a breakdown that is beginning to happen, or that there's a breakdown that happened. And this is what I understood has happened in a factual, and it's so important, non-accusatory tone. And that's why, leaders actually think before they speak. They even practice when they're going to do, when they're going to have to deal with some of these things. They actually do the practice and prepare the language, the tone, the words, and all that stuff that they're going to utilize. And then they share that, and then they listen for that feedback and say, okay, this is what has happened. Let's figure out how we move beyond this. I asked everyone to do this, and I have noticed that has been somewhat of a challenge, and individuals have not been following through with this. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what's going on versus talking about people to other people, or talking about the problem with people rather than talking about the problem to the person or people that are involved. That is such an important part of leadership. The third stage of cooperation is what I like to refer to as forgiveness, or what even some others have referred to as forgiveness, which is signaling to the team that regardless of the breakdown in cooperation, you want to continue working toward the common goal. And I just hit on that just a moment ago. Hey, listen, this is what is going on right now. This is what I'm observing that is taking place, that is a breakdown in our ability to work together, to cooperate. And I just want to make it very clear, and you don't have to use these words, but you need to convey these sentiments. I want to make it very clear that it is important to me, and that I am invested in seeing this thing through. I am invested in us working as a cohesive team. And let me pause here for a second, because these are perfect times for leaders to share their guiding principles. I value my team. And so it is important that each person on my team has a voice in how this organization runs, and has a voice in how we execute the mission of this organization. And I am still committed to that. And I need to understand better, what does that take? What is it going to take for us to get there? And I'm not talking about as a cheap car salesman. Again, these are not tactics. Yeah. These are not strategies to manipulate people. These are strategies to get to have healthy, functioning relationships. These are long-term strategies. They're not just about, I need to win this particular cycle. These are strategies that says, man, I want this thing to be healthy for the long haul. And this is what I need to do in order to really have healthy relationships, because I want to have healthy relationships with my team while they're still working for the organization. I want to have a healthy relationship with the team even when they're gone. So that's number 3. The third stage is forgiveness, where you signal that, hey, this is important, and I still want us to work together and to move past and to get through this impasse. And
can I interject real quick before the fourth thing? I mean, that's a big deal. And I didn't realize how big of a deal it was until you started talking through that. I think for leaders, and I think for even team members, for everybody involved, forgiveness is kind of can be that chasm between developing healthy relationships. Taking things so personal or feeling so injured. I think we don't necessarily kind of see it that way at work a lot of times, even though that is exactly what is happening. We can't seem to get past what someone has done or what we've perceived that they've done in order to get to a healthy place. Someone makes a mistake, they're either instantly stupid, they are, they're incompetent. We put labels on people that are so strong, it makes it almost impossible for us to move forward. And I think that bringing this point here with forgiveness. I mean, it's just something that it's very simple. It's right there in your face. It seems very obvious, but I'm so glad that you brought that up, because I don't think that that's something that word is ever really used in a professional setting, and that concept is never really teased out. That we need to be able to forgive. We need to be able to let go and move forward in order for us to accomplish what it is we're trying to accomplish going forward.
And let
If
me
mistakes were made, feelings were hurt, or whatever the case may be, we need to be able to forgive and move on.
And let me just piggyback off of what you did at the beginning of this broadcast, which was to tie it in with what we talked about last time. When we are in our last broadcast, we talked about how humans have lived for so many millennia in survival mode,
Mhm.
life and death, in the throes of death mode, and that now we're no longer in that place. We're no longer where we can't find water. Don't get me wrong, there are places around the world that don't have water.
Right, right. Generally speaking,
Yeah.
I would get your point. Yeah,
Generally
yeah.
speaking, man, you have access to water, you have access to food, you have access to shelter. You don't have lions literally coming and kidnapping and killing kids and all, and
Yeah.
family and stuff. So we don't have to stay in survival mode. And if we can understand that within the workplace, and this is where forgiveness, because someone disagrees with me doesn't mean they're trying to kill me. I'm not in a
Right.
fight for my life. We can work past this. And don't get me wrong, a zebra cannot work past his problems with a lion.
Right, right.
The lion
Exactly.
have irreconcilable.
Not as long as the lion's hungry.
Not as long as the lion's hungry, man. They have irreconcilable differences that they will
Yeah.
never get past. But you and your team member are not at that level. I pray to God that you don't get to that level where the only way is somebody has to die. The only way we can resolve is somebody has to die.
I mean, we laugh about that, but some of these conflicts in the workplace, and I've experienced this, where the hatred, the vitriol, the anger, that being in that state of survival, the leader not being able to tamp down the anxiety and get people to understand we're not in a life or death situation here. We can reasonably work through our challenges, and we can come to a place where we can get some agreement and move forward. If that isn't done, what we talked about last week and what you're saying now is that we're just put in that kind of automatic survival mode, and it does become this. I wish this person would die. I wish this person wouldn't come to work. I wish they would quit. I've got to quit. I've got to get out of here. I can't take this anymore. My life is miserable. I hate everything. And you can see how that just kind of spirals out of control by not simply bringing down the anxiety and being able to forgive. I think we need to move on to our. We've gone through the fourth point. I think you're at the fourth point now. So let's tackle that.
And so the last one is very simple. The final stage of cooperation is reciprocal relationships, in which both parties benefit, not win, but benefit.
Okay.
Because in when you use the term win, it automatically implies that someone lost.
Right.
And so we're not, but two people can benefit. If I need $500 to pay my bills, and you need someone, this shows you how out of touch I am with car expenses, but you need someone to change out your engine, then you giving me $500 and me putting the engine in your car is not me winning and you losing. It is both of us benefiting.
Right.
And that's one of the things that leaders think about as they're trying to move beyond is, how do I create a culture in the workplace where people sense that they are benefiting from being a part of this team, that it benefits them to work through challenges and problems, especially, and let's just be honest, as it relates to team members, qualified, competent people have choices. They have places that they can go. All you got to go on is Indeed, and man, you just type in any keyword, and I mean, there's just jobs galore. Especially if you're educated and qualified, there's jobs out there for you. And so, man, what people are looking for is not just a job. They're looking for somewhere, man, where they can be fulfilled. And so leaders need to be thinking, how do I create a culture here where individuals feel that this is beneficial to them, that it's beneficial for them to stick around and to work through these problems. That if they stick around and work through them, and we come with resolutions, we come with new strategies, new techniques, etc., that it's actually going to improve the quality of their life. Man, you have hit the jackpot. But if people are saying, man, what do I need to be here for?
Right.
Yeah, I can go somewhere else, man. I don't need to deal with this. I don't need to deal with this. One of my favorite shows is Everybody Hates Chris. It's about the childhood of Chris Rock. And Chris Rock's mom in the show, that is, her husband worked 3 jobs. And she would say to anytime she got a job and someone didn't do what she liked, or she found it, too stressful, she would look at the boss and say, I don't need to work here. My man got 3 jobs. And she quit. And we live in a world today. We be like, I really don't have to put up with this, man.
Yeah.
And so effective leaders, especially today, create a culture of reciprocal relationships where individuals say, hey, man, being a part of this team is not just about the paycheck. It's not just about the commute to work or the ability to be able to work from home. It's about, man, I really enjoy working for this company. I really enjoy working for this individual. And when you really hit it, is that when they leave, they actually say, I want to be the type of leader in my new venture that he or she was. My leader was at work at the last place I was at. That is when that's when you really got there. And that's when you've really unboxed your leadership.
That's a great segue, Robert, to what I wanted to bring up next. Look, this is a tough subject to tackle. And I acknowledge that, and I know that you acknowledge that this is just not easy work. We're doing our best to address as much of this issue as we can in our broadcasts and in our webinars, but that's basically just one layer of the onion. So ultimately, our mission at Unboxed to Lead is to help leaders do the hard work of becoming the leader that they want to be, and more importantly, being the best person that they can be, not just at work, accomplishing organizational goals, but also reaching personal goals as well, and having strong relationships in every aspect of their life and in every relationship that is a part of their orbit, whether it's their friends, their family, their colleagues, their members, etc. So our flagship service and your brainchild is our Leaders Peer Support Community. And I wanted to ask you to just take a minute or two to share a little bit about this service, talk a little bit about the elements that we've incorporated into that service, and how it's designed. You hit on it a little bit earlier, but how it's designed to get into the deeper layers of the onion over time, beyond what we address in our broadcasts and webinars, because clearly we can't just cover it all here. There's no magic bullet. This is a 30,000 foot perspective. Talk a little bit about how we roll up our sleeves and get into helping the leader do the hard work with the Leaders Peer Support Community.
That is the secret sauce in Unboxed to Lead Leaders Peer Support Community. First and foremost, we only allow individuals who are executive directors, VPs, presidents, and C-suite officers to join. So you're going to be around individuals who are high level in their leadership. So that's the first thing. It's an exclusive club. And the reason for that is because we want to make sure that everyone is getting, a benefit from being there. Could you imagine if, you have the CEO of a Fortune 500 and everybody else is high school teachers? Mm-hmm. Not to put down high school teachers, but if we're going to have a leadership group, you can't. That's really not the CEO of a Fortune 500 company is not going to get much of a benefit. So that's one of the things is we make sure that all of our leaders, it's an application process, and you have to be a leader of an organization and a high level leader. The second thing is, and I want to use this kind of as a template. What we've been talking about today, cooperation. Mm-hmm. Imagine that you're dealing with a team that is not cooperating, or some individuals who are not cooperating. The first resource that you have available to you is the online learning courses, where you can actually gain an understanding about how relationship systems work and understand how those dynamics play out, so that you can actually identify what is going on in your workplace
Mhm.
through the online courses. Then you can meet with your leadership coach, your executive leadership coach, and the two of you can begin to work through together challenges that you have in reaching your own personal goals, or using this as an example, talk through and work through and to think through together how you're going to manage these challenges and show up the best that you can be. And then the third tool that you have that is so powerful is that you have your leaders peer support groups. So you're coming to these peer support groups and you're sharing and you're getting feedback from other high level leaders who have encountered these type of challenges and can share with you their best thinking around these challenges, so that you have literally a community of other leaders that are working with you towards solving problems within your organization, but that are also there to help you to reach your personal and professional goals. So that not only is it a support group, but it is also a mastermind group. So when these type of challenges arise, you can have support to help you to deal with them, while at the same time you're having support to reach your own personal goals and to reach your own professional goals and family goals, etc. So you have this whole community, this Unboxed to Lead Leaders Peer Support community that is designed to be a support for you as you attempt to create a healthy workplace culture and as you attempt to reach the highest levels of your life.
Well, that all sounds absolutely fantastic. And anyone who is interested in that service can visit our website, www.unboxedtolead.com, to sign up to become a member of the Leaders Peer Support community. Well, that brings us to the end of our broadcast today. The Unboxed broadcast is produced by Bobby Davis Jr., graphics and video design provided by Damon Mace, and marketing and promotion by John Sedano. Remember to visit our website at www.unboxedtolead.com. For Dr. Robert Davis, I'm RP Soriano, and we look forward to seeing you at the next broadcast of Unboxed as we help you unbox the power and the potential of your leadership. Be well.
UnBoxed provides a full-service leaders peer support community that helps high-level leaders become more authentic leaders who build healthy workplace cultures and reach their personal life goals. To learn more and discover how we can take your leadership and your life to the next level, please visit our website at unboxedtolead.com. That's unboxed, 2, lead.com. Again, that's unboxed, 2, to lead.com.